views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Get ready to experience the truth. Welcome to Truth Talk Radio with your host, Deb Acker. Truth Talk Radio is a hit show that will illuminate the truth in your daily life as you experience life, love, and abundance from a whole new perspective. Unleash your intuitive nature while Deb helps you stop looking outside yourself for value and happiness, break through patterns, and move into your authentic truth at lightning speed. Truth Talk Radio will leave you feeling lighter, help you live with more presence, passion, and clarity, and bring you into a place of infinite possibilities every day in every way. Now here's your host, Deb Acker.
Hello, everyone. I'm Deb Acker, and you are listening to Truth Talk on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with me for the next hour as I help you experience the truth, nothing but the truth. Each week on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, I'll have some of the most gifted, inspiring, and unique souls, speakers, and authors helping to move you into more light, love, and, of course, truth. And before we get started, I'd like to start out today's show with an intention. And my intention for today's show is that everyone that needs to hear this conversation hears it, and that you leave feeling expansive, inspired, lit up, and are flexible and open to what wants to come through. And with that, I'd like to introduce today's guest, Courtney Sunday. Courtney is a yoga teacher who specializes in teaching people who don't do yoga, which would include me, who don't believe they do yoga, and training teachers who don't believe they can teach. After leaving a corporate job, Courtney has taught all over the world and followed her passion of writing. As a contributor to USA Today, Mind, Body, Green, Elephant Journal, and Greatest, Courtney likes to believe that it is possible to spread good news every day. And she is currently working on her first novel of fiction and preparing her first 500-hour teacher training program. And Courtney's spirit, spunk, and go-getter attitude is what drew me to having her on the show today. So I cannot wait to talk to her. Welcome. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today and so excited to hear about your journey. So tell us, how did you get on this path? Tell us about your story?
In terms of how I became a yoga teacher?
Yeah. What drew you to yoga, first of all?
Yeah. The very first class I took, I was a teenager, and I wasn't ready for it because I thought it was a little weird. That was my very first introduction with yoga. And I just remember thinking everybody is so flexible, and they were in that particular class, and I wasn't. And it didn't seem like something I could do. And then 10 years went by, and I started to meditate a little bit, and I was just dabbling in it. I occasionally go to a yoga class at a gym, but it wasn't really, it was for fitness more than anything else. And then I was living in Switzerland, and I ended up just looking on the internet for, things to go to as a predominantly English speaker, because most of the classes I was going to were German, and I wasn't finding a lot. So I thought, how great would it be if I maybe did a teacher training just to teach the expats. And that really transformed my life from there.
Oh, awesome. That's teacher training is really, because I used to actually teach exercise classes myself. That's pretty pretty in depth.
Oh my gosh.
What was that like?
I had absolutely no idea really what I was in for when I first showed up. I was quite nervous, but then I've also recognized that everybody is nervous when they start something like that. And I think I had a friend that once said nervousness is a good thing. Like it means something matters to you. So when I showed up, that was the case. And my teacher that I learned from, Monica Angelucci, who lives in Prague and teaches in Berlin and has done teacher trainings all over Europe. She's a huge believer in allowing the student to be where they are, but also she really pushed us. She expected essays. She expected a huge amount of self-reflection. And I'm sure that it's not like she was watching me when I went home, so I could have not done it. But I really I felt like it was important. So I started coming home every day and making sure that I had a practice and that I did some meditation. And it just opened me up in this entirely unexpected way. I would have never thought that I would be doing this for a living.
Yeah, no, I mean, because it's like I've kind of always had, and I do yoga at least once a week, but I've always had this kind of like concept that like you either are like a yogi or you're not. Like I feel kind of like I feel like that awkward. Really, I feel like I'm like a fat man on the mat, even though I'm like a petite little woman. But I always feel like I'm like I feel completely awkward when I'm doing yoga. Like it is totally, as much as I love exercise. And I've been exercising since I was a little girl, I like yoga feels so kind of just awkward for me and out of place. So I've always kind of had that mindset that it just like you are or you're not. What did that look like for you?
Oh, well, when I was a kid, I was like you. I was, very, very active in all these other different ways. And I liked running and, I like movement. But I still am not to this day flexible per se. Like there's some things that the practice has been able to do for my body, which has been absolutely wonderful. But, some of the ways that my body have not changed, like the shape of my bones or, the depth of my joints. And that was set. And I think once I accepted that, I was like, yoga is actually really fun if I accept the body that I have right now, which is not, a dancer's body. It's not completely capable of putting my feet behind my head. But it's capable of being present. And once I realized that, even just as a student, it was like, oh, okay, I can really like this and I can continue to do it as I get older.
What an awesome reframe on how we look at yoga. Cause it's like, I know too, like even the conversation, that I'm having with myself when I'm in a yoga class, I sort of like what you're talking about. It's like, I kind of make myself wrong, right? I'm like going into like, oh, I'm not flexible or like, oh, there she goes again. It's like, just like sort of like, I have that sort of like, for lack of a better way to say it, like sucking mentality. And so it's really interesting to hear you talking about that and then to have moved into that as a teacher. So how do you talk to your students about that? Like how do you position that to your students?
I think my teaching style has changed dramatically since when I started, but I think that's how it goes. The more that you learn yourself, the more that you're imparting that to your students. And I'm on the exact same journey that they're on. So I'm just trying to keep them informed of that. And I also, especially now at this point in my teaching, try not to get too alignment heavy. And it's a hard one for me because it's how we're all taught in our teacher trainings, is to, the body goes here and the arm goes here and make sure that your knee is over your ankle and all of that stuff. But the more I've even learned about biomechanics, I've realized that it's not essential to have it just be like that. That's mostly, a lot of the time, it's an aesthetic look. And that's why, people are doing yoga poses the way they are. So in order to have people inhabit the body they have, I try to discuss how a pose is intended to feel, whether it's, intended to stretch something or make you feel more uplifted or make you recognize your inner strength. Poses were meant to all do different things, and people can get into them and look entirely different. But it's not really so important that you're the flexible or the strong one in the room. Like it doesn't matter at all.
That's an awesome way to reframe how, as you're in the poses, like what your mindset is, how you're thinking, how you're feeling, and just really really owning that power, right? Owning your strength and owning the beauty of who you are, whether that means you're like completely unflexible or you're, super flexible.
Exactly.
So no, that's beautiful. So now you said that this teacher training program also kind of took you through, obviously, like an inner journey. Tell me more about that.
I think it was exactly that. It started, and this is something I'm always working on, but recognizing with your voice, your inner voice, and the voice that's on your side and the voice that is holding yourself back, by assumptions of what other people think of you, by that very simple assumption of, will I be the yoga person in the room that's the worst one? The whole point is, even if you were, does that really matter?
Yeah.
Not really. I certainly, when I'm teaching a class, I'm not like scanning, being like, oh, I really want to, make sure I see only the really flexible people. That's not really the point of the whole journey. So I think doing a lot of the journal work, inner reflection, going through things like the Yoga Sutras and understanding some of the ancient part of the tradition made me realize that it really is about the inner journey. Like all of this good flexibility, strength work is a nice thing to do, and it really can help us to get out of our heads. But how far we get in poses is a really small part of the whole puzzle.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. It's funny too, because as you're talking, like I'm thinking about, because I'm constantly when I'm in yoga, kind of just giggling a lot because it's like just owning my ridiculousness, or just owning it. It's like, okay, like, yeah, this is like, I'm like, quote unquote, not quote unquote good at this, but it like doesn't even matter because I'm like, I'm showing up, I'm doing it every time I come with a good attitude. I'm going to have fun with it, and I'm going to laugh at myself because I know most of the time I look ridiculous. So
that's a great student though. You would be a great student because you just don't want everybody to take it so seriously, but mostly don't take themselves so seriously. And it can take a very long time to get to that mindset.
Yeah, totally. Well, and it's fun too because my yoga instructor, he adds kind of like this whole, like that whole element of play and sort of like that whole element of just consciousness and kind of like sort of like that bigger awareness that like how funny we're in this weird awkward shaped body, and like let's play with that and let's open to that and stuff. So it's really quite fun and really quite interesting. So we're going to take a quick break. You are listening to Truth Talk. I am your host, Deb Acker. When we come back, we are going to explore more with Courtney. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Chris Stanis is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Wow. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By. I'm telling you, I got to pinch myself some days because when each of us gets called to do something that we so not thought was in our wheelhouse to do for a purpose that's so much greater than us, we get to show up and shine.
If you would like to show up and shine on the Dr. Pat Show as a co-host or sponsor, send us an email to inspire@thedrpatshow.com.
Tune in to The Truth is Funny with Colette Steffen each Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This hit show will have you thinking outside the box and riding the wave of infinite potential. Join Colette on the Higher Self Network, inspiring listeners to shine their brilliance and ensure success while roaring with laughter as they recognize the humor of the giant cosmic joke. Visit thetruthisfunny.com.
The Doctor is in. Tune in to the hit show, The Psychic Love Doctor, with host Deborah Lee. Deborah's life-affirming, highly perceptive reading method has taught Deborah how to zero in on specific problems with relationships, career pursuits, and current roadblocks to success and happiness. Join Deborah Fridays at 2 p.m. Pacific, and for a special broadcast the second Thursday of every month at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Get ready to experience Truth Talk Radio with host Deb Acker. Tune in to Truth Talk Radio each Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com to illuminate the truth in your daily life as you experience life, love, and abundance from a whole new perspective. This hit show will leave you feeling lighter and bring you into a place of infinite possibilities every day in every way. Visit TruthTalkRadioshow.com for upcoming transformative topics and guests.
Hi, I'm Tim Darter.
And I'm Steve Kramer.
Join us on Spirit Fire Radio. Discover how to add the mechanics of meditation to your day.
And watch yourself connect in a whole new way. Find the amazing moments in life's routines that often pass us by. Add to your awareness with Spirit Fire Radio.
Tune in each Wednesday at 9 a.m. for your weekly guide to practical mindfulness. And to learn more, visit www.spiritfireradio.com.
We're back on Truth Talk. I am your host, Deb Acker. My guest today is Courtney Sunday, and we are talking about becoming flexible in your mind and yoga. But before we continue, Courtney, can you give the listeners your contact info?
Oh, sure. My website is www.courtneysunday, Sunday like the day, .com. And even my social media channels and everything like that is right on the website. So that's the best way to get in touch.
Awesome. So speaking of becoming flexible in your mind, that's the title of the show. What does that look like for you? What does that mean to you?
Well, that is the whole idea, I think, of any of these mind-body practices. And I'm sure a lot of the ones that you've been covering through your program is just to understand that when you're sitting with your mind, you get a sense of how it's all over the place. And all of us have that, right? Like there's nothing. Sometimes when I tell people I meditate, they go, oh, I can't do that. I think too much. And I always find that's such a sweet thing to say, because it makes the assumption that my mind isn't like that. When of course it is, but when our minds are all over the place and thinking about everything, I think sometimes we can recognize that we are in a really rigid pattern, whether we're, obsessing over our ex or, going over the fact that maybe we should get a new place or we should get more stuff. When you sit still, you can realize that, wow, maybe all of these little extra things that I'm thinking about all day long don't need to take up as much space as they are.
Well, and what advice do you have for someone who's just starting a new meditation practice and is feeling maybe challenged with it's interesting because when you said, you're like, when you were talking about sort of that, like the sweet thing of like, okay, well, my mind goes too much or my mind thinks too much. What came up for me was isn't that the purpose of meditation, to help quiet your mind? Yes. I was like, oh, that's so awesome. But what advice do you have for someone who is new and is finding that challenging?
Well, I think it is recognizing that nobody is perfect at it and that this isn't a perfection practice and that like anything in life, you get better at it by practicing. So if it's your very first time meditating, your mind might be all over the place. And I had a woman that was I did some training in Bali, and she was in my class, and we got up early every morning and meditated for a little over an hour. And she hadn't meditated much prior to this program. So it was like throwing her into the deep end. It was like, normally you practice with 5 minutes and then, you work. Yeah,
you kind of build up. Exactly.
She's got 60 minutes and she was so stressed about it. And I could understand that because it was like, what am I supposed to do? When you don't know. And I said to her, I was like, here's the thing. I said, let's say you had 1,000 thoughts during that time, like normally. Maybe it'll probably be well over 1,000, but let's keep it at 1,000. And I said, and while you're meditating, because you're being still, you've brought it down to 990. I was like, good for you. That's still successful. It's, we can't expect emptiness. We can expect noticing, I think, is more of the thing that you're trying to do with meditation. Noticing what you keep coming back to, noticing maybe how hard you are on yourself, even that voice that's saying, oh, I should be doing better at this. like, who is that voice? Like, and what business do they have judging you when you're trying to do something nice for yourself? So yeah, to start meditating, it's really just whatever you have the time for. I know many people in many meditation programs I've taken, they give a set period of time because I think some people do well with a daily goal. I'm just of the mindset of whatever works for you. So even if it does happen to be 5 minutes, but it's something that you can commit to, then do that. If you are more comfortable lying on the floor, do that. If you get to work and you find you have a little extra time because traffic was good, sit in your car and meditate. Like there's a lot of opportunities to fit this into your life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's, I think, such a key, right? It's like just doing what feels right for you. And like, if you miss it, like I always say to anyone who's asking me about this, I'm like, if you miss a day, like, don't beat up on yourself. Like, it's like, just like allowing yourself, it's the part of the practice of meditation, as you know, it's like, it's really just like going with the flow as opposed to, it's not meant to be the opportunity to really like, hey, I'm going to beat up on myself now because I didn't do the thing I'm trying to do to help me calm my mind. And so, yeah, like, no, I think that those are all really amazing points. Well, and as part of like sort of just basically de-stressing, becoming calm, I know you did a video in Toronto. Tell the listeners about this video. It's super fun.
Yeah, I used to write for a publication called Toujours Wellness, which is a Canadian health and wellness publication, which is no longer, which basically broke my heart because I thought it was the best thing ever. But I worked with them, and they were doing a bunch of videos for a while, and they came, and I thought I was going to be there to do a yoga video, and I've done a few of those. So I was like, great, this is not foreign territory. I can do a yoga video. And then one of the producers met me on the street, and he said, would you go out of your comfort zone? Would you do something a little different? And he didn't go further than that. And I was like, he goes, are you easily embarrassed? And I was like, no, I'm not really easily embarrassed. I can be very much myself. And then he described this concept of me standing on a very busy street corner in Toronto with a sign that said free Zen, offering people the chance to just take a deep breath and slow down, like taking 30 seconds to just slow down. And at first my heart raced, and I was like, oh, I used to work on those busy streets. Like I was one of those people wearing the suits. I would have thought I was crazy. Like, so I totally understood why a lot of people passed by me, and just, looked at me like I was trying to sell something. But it was kind of an amazing experience, both for myself and for, the amazing people who took the time to, stop in front of a video camera to take a deep breath, which is well out of, I think, everybody's comfort zone. But for me to recognize that, like, just doing something like that, no one was going to even remember me anyway, a couple of days after that. So even doing something that extroverted ends up being something that just passes by, just like anything else, which felt very freeing.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. So, as you know, I love to get out of my comfort zone too.
Yeah.
What advice do you have to listeners who maybe kind of get stuck in that fear, or get stuck in sort of like, for anyone listening that would be like, no way I would have done that in a million years.
Yeah. Well, I liked your examples as well of like, you said you were afraid of heights on your website and then you jumped out of a plane. I think that's astounding. I don't think I could do that. So I think it's recognizing what is your version of brave. Cause you don't want to go so far out of your comfort zone that it is just, piquing fear and pushing you to a limit that you're not comfortable with. So it's recognizing your own edges and where you can go. And again, like we're talking about flexibility, those edges themselves might shift. And you might realize that you can go a little further next time and you can try something different. But for me, I just thought, why not? Why not do something like this? I think it as long as it's coming from, for me in my life, a good place, I'm probably willing to do a lot of different weird things, just to kind of explore my relationship with the world.
Yeah, no, and I always say too, like with you're talking about the fear of heights, like I've gotten used to how I show up in heights-oriented situations, and so I just like it's such a fun thing because it's like, okay, like, you know, now I can at least warn people, okay, I'm going to scream really loudly, like yes. Here's what's going to happen when I do this, and like so even though it's completely uncomfortable and my whole body starts shaking and I can feel just like how terrified I really am, like it's like I kind of, even though it's like I'm so scared, I just lean into that piece. And that it's so fun because it's like, okay, cool. Like you do it and then you feel really, really empowered after doing it because you're like, oh my God, I just conquered something that, you know, I would have thought that maybe I couldn't do, or maybe, you know, maybe that was just completely, you know, out of my comfort zone. So yeah, no, I totally get that. So yeah, absolutely.
I have a friend who works in psychology, and she works with people who are trying to break through fears. And she actually did like a really short exercise with me on the top of a mountain when I was like, wow, there's no barriers.
Yeah.
When you get to the top and you're like, wow, I didn't realize it was so high.
It's scary up there. Yeah, I know.
What a surprise. And I was kind of, doing the whole anxious thing. And then she looked at me and she goes, okay, look at the part of the mountain or look at the part of the height that scares you the most, whether it's the very bottom or the middle or whatever's bringing out that anxiety. And she's like, sit with it. She's like, don't. And it was really a meditative exercise of just sit with it. See what happens when you don't try to run away even from the fear experience. And so I did that. And she kept asking, like, where's your fear on a scale of 1 to 10? And it would just progressively go down. And to me, it was just this magical moment of like, wow, that's incredibly powerful what we can do within our minds.
That's so awesome, right? Because it's like so many times we want to run away from the fear. And I know the last time I did, I was like, zip lining. So I was zip lining over these like canyons in Ecuador. And it was like I was sitting, like, basically everyone that I knew was going ahead of me, and I was the last person to go, and I was like crouched in the fetal position, just like waiting, and I was like, okay, just breathe, and I'm like trying to just center and breathe, like kind of sitting with it, right? And I mean, for me, it wasn't taking the fear away. It was just like kind of building it up. It might have been better to even go first or go sooner. But yeah, all of that is like so super fun. So we're going to take another break here. You are listening to Truth Talk. I am your host, Deb Acker. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Courtney about corporate jobs and all kinds of fun things. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Get ready to experience Truth Talk Radio with host Deb Acker. Tune in to Truth Talk Radio each Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com to illuminate the truth in your daily life as you experience life, love, and abundance from a whole new perspective. This hit show will leave you feeling lighter and bring you into a place of infinite possibilities every day in every way. Visit TruthTalkRadioshow.com for upcoming transformative topics and guests.
The doctor is in. Tune in to the hit show, The Psychic Love Doctor, with host Deborah Lee. Deborah's life-affirming, highly perceptive reading method has taught Deborah how to zero in on specific problems with relationships, career pursuits, and current roadblocks to success and happiness. Join Deborah Fridays at 2 p.m. Pacific, and for a special broadcast the second Thursday of every month at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Awaken to your radiant, authentic self. For over 15 years, Soul Purpose Advocate Nancy Monson has been focused on leading change in the lives of those looking to live their true purpose. She is devoted to supporting people in living a soul-directed life every day. Let Nancy help you overcome fear, worry, and doubt. Visit everydayspirituality.com to learn how Nancy can be your Soul Purpose Advocate.
Do you want to achieve your goals? Do you want to strengthen relationships with others? Do you want to improve your financial status? Colette Marie Steffen is partnering with Mark Kettenbach to bring you an energetic upgrade online experience. Unfold and develop your full potential. Visit energeticupgrade.com today for more information. That's energeticupgrade.com.
If you're one of the millions of Americans suffering from anxiety, you probably know how powerless and out of control this emotion can make you feel. This is why it is so important to remember that anxiety is created by your mind, which means that you can learn to use your mind to uncreate it. Hello, my name is Dr. Friedman Schaub. My award-winning book, The Fear and Anxiety Solution, provides you with a step-by-step breakthrough process to understand and resolve the root causes of your anxiety and build a solid foundation of confidence and inner peace. If you are ready to take your power back, visit thefearandanxietysolution.com.
Order your copy of Dr. Friedman Schaub's The Fear and Anxiety Solution today. Visit thefearandanxietysolution.com for more information.
We're back on Truth Talk, and for those just tuning in, I'm here talking with Courtney Sunday about becoming flexible in your mind. And I want to switch gears here for a second. I know, Courtney, you've been all throughout the corporate world and had some different kinds of various jobs. Tell me about some of your favorite and least favorite jobs that you've had.
I worked in the travel industry as an airline inventory manager, and it did bring me traveling pretty much all over the world. I did really like that. I worked with incredibly interesting people. It was cool. It was fast paced. I was on the road a lot. And it showed me that even somebody like me who loves to travel does have a limit. And sometimes I still push that limit, but yeah, it was a great opportunity. I've also worked in a bank, not for me. I studied English, Lit, and in math in university. And whenever you study math as a woman, I think especially people are like, women in math jobs, and I really thought I had to follow that. Even just my inner feminist was like, you're right. It's important that I do something with this math, with this mathematical side of myself. But being in that all day, every day, is not for me. I didn't feel fulfilled. And when I don't feel fulfilled like anybody else, you do all of I'm like, I need to buy more shoes. I need to do these things in order to feel
right, to feel
okay.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Totally.
When I started working at jobs I really liked, most specifically this one right now, I'm like, oh, I don't need very many shoes. I don't even have that craving anymore. It's very interesting.
Yeah, totally. How that all that changes. Well, and it's interesting because I was in the travel field too.
Oh, wow.
I love to travel, and I worked for an Australian travel company selling all kinds of travel and stuff, and so which afforded me the opportunity to travel around the world and experience all these cool things, which was super, super fun. And it's interesting as I've moved from different job to different job, how what you're talking about, right? Well, your income starts to change, and you also start to really recognize okay, this really gives me joy, and this not so much.
Yeah.
And recognizing you don't have to live in that in that box that a lot of us can get tied to or get comfortable in. So yeah, absolutely.
I think Instagram also makes it seem still that everybody is having a better life than you. So you can get in the box of oh no, my job's not good enough because these people are jumping off of cliffs all day, and that's not what I'm doing. Yeah. But I also think I love my jobs right now, and I've been doing the writing and yoga teaching for 6 years, but I could change. I don't think that this is necessarily. I'd love it if it were, but it might. I can't tie myself to it so much that I'm not going to allow myself to do something different in the future if that ends up being who I've become at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really is all about being in that flow and allowing for that flow. So it's like, because I know we tend to kind of want to have the answers, or tend to kind of get into our boxes, and, it can be really easy to kind of be like, okay, this is what life is. This is what I have to be doing. And when it's like to make that shift and go, okay, like, this is where I am right now. Like, it's that shift, what you're talking about, right? It's like that shift being in like just present moment.
Yeah.
Which I want to ask you about, speaking of present moment. Tell me about like this whole idea of like living in your bliss and that yogic philosophy that, I want to hear more about that.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many great yoga texts. Like the Yoga Sutras is one that's quoted often, I think, in many yoga studios and classes. And it is for a reason. One, it's really short. So it's very easy to get through like 196 passages of text. However, the interesting thing is when things are really short, sometimes people make the mistake that they must be simple. And some of these texts are quite rich and kind of are expecting you underneath the surface to be experiencing it rather than reading it. They're not like, oh, browse through this, here are the secrets to life, they're more like, okay, maybe you'll understand the first part that we're saying about the nature of the mind. And if you don't understand it, you might need to spend some more time figuring out whatever that means in your life before you continue to move on and speed yourself through. So I think even just that whole idea of patience that a lot of these philosophical texts give you, it also just relates to, wherever we are in any given time. When we're in a blissful period of our lives, it's very easy to just be like, oh, I'm fine now and I'm great. And this is where my life is at. But whenever it deviates from that path, when we have the potential to change, I think that's when things can get a little sticky and we can get very impatient with ourselves and expect ourselves to know all of the answers of where we're going to be in the future. Yogic texts expect us to be present, because if we're always figuring out what, our next job is going to be and where we're next going to live and, what our children will be doing in the future, it can really send our minds into a tailspin, which can in turn affect our bodies. So I think living your bliss is, number one, expecting that it's not always going to be bliss.
Yeah.
everything changes, like desires come and go, and even balance is different in every given year of our lives. I find that that's true for me. Sometimes a balanced life for me is very work heavy, and at other times it does seem to have every part of the pie, equally distributed in different areas of the life. But that's not how it always works. That even shifts all the time. So I think that, in order to like figure out no matter what anybody's looking into to live their bliss, it's embracing who they are as a unique individual, but also realizing that even their uniqueness could change into other uniqueness. You can become another unique being within a 5-year period, or if you go through something very difficult, it can happen even more dramatically. And I think having an opportunity to respect the person that you are at any given time is going to bring you much closer to living a bliss-filled life. I think it's when we stick to who we were or to who we could be that I think things can get really murky and difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. It is absolutely about accepting where you are, and then really like living into that present. And then of course, like you're going to have, it's very natural for anyone to have like those goals and have those desires about what they want their life to look like. And also can, it's like finding that gratitude and that happiness in the everyday, so that it's not always looking towards the future or looking back in the past. Absolutely.
Well, like, what did you want to be when you were a little girl?
Well, I wanted to be a lawyer.
We're often wrong.
I mean, like, it
doesn't mean we're any less wrong, but we think that we're going to be. And I just think that that's sometimes very, very interesting, that we just think that because we're older, we should have all the answers. And we don't. We're wrong sometimes about what's right, even for us, especially if we're forecasting too far in the future, because we don't know that person yet.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, at one point I was very wired that way. Like I would have been really, really good at that. Like that was it was interesting because my teacher, when I was like in 5th grade, told my parents, like, oh, if I needed an attorney, I'd want Deb to be my attorney. Yeah. So there was that moment, and then of course, like through the work and stuff, I've obviously done a 180, and it's been a big shift. But yeah, no, it's so super fun. Well, and speaking of living in your bliss, I know you are writing a book. Tell me about that. How cool.
I just finished the first draft, which is like the worst draft, right? Because it just last week. So basically it means I have a shell of a book that needs to be shaped into something. But even finishing a first draft is very exciting because that's a novel of some sort. But it's very exciting. I'm writing about these two women who live like 200 years apart, and the ways that we impact each other's lives, even when we don't live in the same time periods.
Very interesting. So, how did this idea for your book come about?
I am one of those writers who gets those ideas like in the middle of the night and on walks and in showers and that sort of thing. And sometimes these ideas just become articles, but I've had a few ideas for books, and I first started to write a novel when I was 10. I remember thinking like, oh, this is a good time to write a book. Like I'm in double digits, like this is, but I didn't have quite the experience that I think you need in order to sit down with your words every day and do a little something. And it's just like with meditation, right? It's like not expecting yourself to write a whole novel in a week, like letting it be a slow process, letting it be as however much time you're able to give it and on any given day, and working with that to develop these characters who I think start to become more and more real to you the more that you know them.
Yeah, no, that's like it's so fun too, right? To having this book you're writing and this journey that you're taking to this book and through the characters and all of those pieces. That's really, really awesome and fun, and just what an amazing gift to give yourself to really be able to take that journey and really step into writing a book. That's super, super awesome.
I'm going to be looking for a publisher in the fall, and I'm going to like a speed dating publishers event, which sounds like really interesting. I've never done anything like that. We'll see how it goes. That'll
be so interesting and super super fun. So yeah, no, that's like oh my gosh, that would be so that'll be so fun and so so random. I'm like, what a fun way to do that. So no, that's like I will definitely be interested to hear how that goes and how that how that works out for you. Absolutely. So we are going to take our final break here, but before we do, Courtney, can you give the listeners your information one more time?
Yes, www.courtneysunday.com is where you can reach me. And I've also have a whole bunch of stuff on, Mind, Body, Green and USA Today and that sort of stuff. So just Googling me will give you some information.
Awesome. So we're going to go on a quick break. And when we return, I'm going to share my tidbits of truth and we'll finish with a vibration activation. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for a game changer? Sarah Westall is bringing you Business Game Changers Radio. Sarah brings you leading experts, visionaries, and newsmakers who provide the best commentary on big issues and cutting-edge innovations. Sarah's 20 years as a business executive will help you think like an entrepreneur with expertise, energy, and attitude. Tune in to Business Game Changers Mondays at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Get ready to experience Truth Talk Radio with host Deb Acker. Tune in to Truth Talk Radio each Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com to illuminate the truth in your daily life as you experience life, love, and abundance from a whole new perspective. This hit show will leave you feeling lighter and bring you into a place of infinite possibilities every day in every way. Visit TruthTalkRadioshow.com for upcoming transformative topics.
Sky Siegel co-hosts one of today's most popular psychic shows, Angels and Answers, with Artie Hoffman, as she communicates healing messages from the spirit world. These messages can be astounding, enlightening, and life-changing. Born with the God-given talent of inner guidance and the amazing ability to heal, Sky has healed thousands of people. Schedule a reading with Sky now. Call 908-500-1474 and visit skyofangels.com.
What if your body and mind were the compasses to the secrets, mysteries, and magic of life? Glenna Rice, co-host of The Questionable Parent, is inviting you to access all that is possible. Glenna is a 10-year certified veteran access consciousness facilitator who offers an amazing variety of life-changing classes and workshops. Work with Glenna from anywhere with teleclasses and workshops all over the globe. To learn more and see Glenna's current schedule of events, classes, and workshops, visit glennarice.com.
Transformation Talk Radio is dedicated to the education and awareness of Lyme disease.
Welcome to Lyme Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Pat Basile, the host of the Dr. Pat Show, and I am so thrilled that we've created this venue for all of you out there.
Dr. Pat Basile will be bringing the most innovative, groundbreaking information, research, treatment innovations, and stories from those it affects every day.
What we have heard is that you want to ensure for us that we keep positive, holistic, uplifting, transformative talk radio on the air. We're excited to bring you the contemporary conversations about Lyme disease.
We promise not to let the light fade on Lyme.
So fasten your seatbelts. We've got lots more to share with you in the weeks to come.
Tune into Lyme Talk Radio with Dr. Pat and help keep our mission strong on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Welcome back to Truth Talk. I am your host, Deb Acker. In today's final segment, I want to talk about meditation and just being successful with meditation. And I want to actually have us do a vibration activation with that. So just a few tips around really being successful around meditation. And I know we touched on this briefly with Courtney, but really, like she had mentioned, just starting literally for only a few minutes a day, that can be so super helpful and just something that's so super important. And then, I know when I was first starting, I tried a bunch of different meditations. I took an intro to meditation class. All of those were super helpful in me really figuring out what worked for me and really getting to try a bunch of different ways to meditate and just seeing, okay, how does this feel? What works for me? And then just too, as we had briefly touched on, just not being hard on yourself if you start to wander, if you fall asleep, if you don't do it one day. All of those things are just definitely important to keep in mind. So I want to actually close today with a vibration activation. And for those of you guys who are new to vibration activation, basically I'm going to have you close your eyes. And if you are operating heavy machinery or you are driving, do not close your eyes. But for everybody else, if you can go ahead and close your eyes. And I'm going to basically have you, and I'll walk you through this step by step, but I'm going to have you bring light into your body. And I'll walk you through this step by step. And you'll bring light all the way through your body. And then I'll have you expand that out 5 feet, 10 feet, all the way out to the entire universe. And then from there, I might have you say something like everywhere you're beating up on yourself. And you want to see that coming out of your body. And and I'll give you a positive alternative to breathe in, like light or love. And if something else comes to mind, definitely feel free to replace it with that as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and have you close your eyes. And just taking a nice deep breath, just placing your feet nice and flat on the floor. And just breathing in through your nose and just filling your belly and the sides of the body and the chest with air. And just exhaling out nice and slow. And again, just breathing in through your nose and filling your belly and the sides of the body, the chest and the legs with air. And just exhaling out nice and slow. Just one more time, just taking a nice deep breath, just breathing in through your nose and just filling your belly and the sides of the body and the chest with air. And now connecting to the light that's 300 feet above your head. We naturally do this when we pray. So just see, sense, or feel that light. And just allowing this liquid light to come down into your head, down past your eyes, so that you could really see the truth. And down past your nose, down past your ears, so you can hear the truth. And down past your mouth and into your throat, so you could really speak your truth. And down across your shoulders, just allowing this liquid light to come across your shoulders and down past your heart so you can really feel your truth. And just allowing this liquid light to come down past your stomach and into your hips so you can really stand and ground in your truth. Just imagining a liquid light shower just coming down your legs and out through your feet so you can really move towards your truth. And just connecting into the center of the earth that feels like mother's love. It's all ooey and gooey and warm and nurturing. And allowing this liquid light to come back up through your feet, up through your legs, up through your torso, and up through your face. And again, just a liquid light shower just coming down through your face, down your neck, down across your shoulders, down your back, down your arms, down your hips, down your legs, and out through your feet. And back up through your feet, up through your legs, good, up through your torso, and up through your face. And one more time, just seeing this like liquid hose of light just filling your entire body. So just filling first your head, down your neck, across your shoulders, good, down your torso, down your hips, down your legs, and out through your feet, and back up through your feet, up through your legs, up through your torso, and up through your face. And just expanding that light from above and below. And just go ahead and expand that light from your heart into the room that you're in. So see that light just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and just covering the entire room and just allowing your body to open, expand, and breathe. And now covering the entire building that you're in. So just open, expanding, and breathing. And just covering the entire city that you're in, wherever you are, just allowing your body again just to open and expand and breathe. And covering the entire state or country, wherever you are. Just open, expanding, and breathing, and open, expanding, and breathing, and out past the entire continent. So just see that light covering the entire continent. Just open, expanding, and breathing, and open, expanding, and breathing, and out past the entire world. So just allowing that light, see that liquid light covering the entire world. Just open, expanding, and breathing, and open, expanding, and breathing. And allowing that liquid light to expand out past the entire universe, past all the planets. Just open, expanding, and breathing, good. And just open, expanding, and breathing. And now everywhere you are in your mind, everywhere you are just focused on being in your mind, I want you to exhale that out and placing your hand on your heart, I want you just to breathe and drop into your heart space. So just breathing and dropping into that heart space and just exhaling out anywhere that you feel like you're in your mind. And anywhere that you're beating up on yourself, you're being hard on yourself, I want you to exhale that out and just breathing in light, breathing in love, and breathing in self-love, and breathing in light, and breathing in love, and breathing in self-love. And everywhere that you think you're not good enough, everywhere that you think in some way that you suck at something, just exhaling that out and just breathing in enough and breathing in worth. And breathing in enough, and breathing in worth, and breathing in enough, and breathing in worth. And everywhere you're trying to be perfect, everywhere you're trying to be perfect at something, everywhere you're caught up in that perfectionism in some way, just exhaling that out, just breathing in truth, breathing in light, breathing in love, and just breathing in truth, breathing in light, breathing in love. Breathing in truth, breathing in light, breathing in love. And everywhere you're making yourself wrong for thinking too much. So everywhere you're making yourself wrong for thinking too much in some way, just exhaling that out and just breathing in truth and breathing in light and breathing in love and just breathing in truth, breathing in light, breathing in love and breathing in truth, breathing in light, breathing in love. And everywhere that you are allowing fear to stop you, so everywhere that you're allowing fear to stop you from taking massive action, just exhaling that out and just breathing in truth and breathing in that massive action and breathing in truth and breathing in the truth of who you are, the truth of who you're meant to be, the truth of how you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to show up on this planet. Just breathing in the truth of who you are, breathing in the truth of who you're meant to be, and just breathing in light and breathing in love and breathing in more light and breathing in more love and just filling yourself up with light, filling yourself up with love. And one more time, just filling yourself up with light and filling yourself up with love. Just feeling your feet flat on the ground and feeling your body in the chair or wherever you're sitting. Bringing yourself back into the room. And with that, I want to thank my guest today, Courtney Sunday, for sharing such great information. And I want to thank you all for tuning into Truth Talk. I always love hearing from my audience. So if you have a comment on the show or would like to introduce yourself, you can send me a note on the contact page of my website at deboraacker.com. And there you can also sign up for my complimentary pattern identifying discovery session, as well as my free Living in Your Truth guide. And next week on Truth Talk, we'll have Christina Bold speaking about how to live as your most confident self and harness your fears. In the meantime, I hope you have a great week, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you for listening to Truth Talk Radio with your host, Deb Acker. Tune in to Truth Talk Radio every Wednesday at 3 Pacific Time on TransformationTalkRadio.com and experience the truth of who you are and who you came here to be. Each week, Deb interviews an inspiring guest and illuminates the truth to a wide range of topics, including love, life, purpose, career, consciousness, and abundance. Welcome to the world of infinite possibilities. For more information about Deb, including how to contact or work with her, visit TruthTalkRadioshow.com. Look forward to seeing you next week for more Truth Talk Radio.